Hey folks, my name's Joe Burke, and this is my original song, Ocean. My need to stake an interest in loneliness is not true or tries. But when the way to hell is constantly overrated, the perilous I find, and in your cracks a lost sense of misbehavior, while I pushed it out. The things that I cannot change, the things that I can are at half-mast. Is your heart a mess from the days that they walked up and down you? You're filling your head with the worlds that you watch, lonely, lonely. Your brows for how doesn't know how to straighten out when things are good. Across the ocean calling, someone totally is misunderstood. You wait for summer when life feels more like a movie, with the windows down, 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 down. Beneath this teal, a crushed hope in fortune's favors holds on so tight. Too young to know what love brings to all those braver, he'll chase the hype. He's counting demands with the sense of all right. This is fine, yeah. They're willing to dream of a contrasting sight, not confine it. For how doesn't know how to straighten out when things are good. Across the ocean calling for someone totally misunderstood. You wait for summer when life feels more like a movie, with the windows down, 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 down. Always for how doesn't know how to straighten out when things are good. Across the ocean calling for someone totally misunderstood. You wait for summer when life feels more like a movie, with down, 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 down.
Welcome to the NEPA Scene Podcast. We're coming to you live from Cole Creative in downtown Wilkes-Barre. I'm Rich Howells. I'm the founder and editor of NEPA Scene.
And I'm John Popko from Alt 92.1, and I am the Saturday host of Alt Natives on Alt 92.1.
Tonight we're here with West Pittston indie folk singer-songwriter Joe Burke, who is playing an album release show at Karl Hall in Wilkes-Barre with Bret Alexander of the Badlees and Gentleman East fame next Saturday, December 29th. So he's playing some acoustic songs for us tonight, and we're talking about the creation of his new album, Mystic Immediately, working with some of the area's best musicians, both live and in the studio, and much, much more. So please stay tuned for the full hour. We would love to hear your questions and comments down below. Anything that you want to ask us, anything that you want to ask our guest here tonight, anything you want to say about the local music scene, all that good stuff. This is going to be our last podcast of the year. We're going to take next week off and give everybody here at the studio a break and stuff. So make it a good one. We would love to hear your questions and comments. Please stay tuned for the full hour. We would love to hear from you. So before we get to the interview, we just got here. Let's crack open some beers from our wonderful sponsor, Beer Boys.
Sounds a good plan to me.
Now, I picked them up, but so I know what's in them, but why don't you fill in our audience here of what we have tonight?
All right, so we have Newport Storm Blueberry Ale. That's exciting. I love blueberry. Cider Boys First Press Apple. Did that last week?
Yes, we did.
It was very good.
That was good.
And SBC Raz the Roof, which I think just got released recently, right?
Yes. Yeah, it just came out again.
So how about that? Beer Boys hooking us up.
As always. What do you want to start with?
Let's do the SBC.
All right.
Big fan.
Raz the Roof it is. Yeah, we had them on a few weeks ago. It was fun. It was a good conversation.
Absolutely.
They're really nice guys, and they always make some good stuff.
Yeah, anytime I've been living anywhere else other than here, the beer that I bring to people if I'm going to visit them is SBC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The beer and the pizza, that's what we're known for here.
Yeah. Pizza is a harder sell, if you can believe it, but
yeah, well,
pretty easy to get.
A lot of them don't like the fact that we put American cheese on a lot of our pizza
Yep.
around here, which totally turns off a lot of people. I can understand that.
Well, I really like the fact, too, now, these days, I think back in the day, people wanted to take, dishes to, parties or gatherings.
Sure.
Now you can take beer.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Don't cook yourself. Get pizza.
I took the one crawler that we didn't drink before Thanksgiving and took that to Thanksgiving dinner, and it was a big hit just because of the gigantic cans that they give us.
Yeah.
They're like, what the hell is that?
There's some left in there. You can top yourself off if you'd like. Trying to behave.
That was good.
Same.
I don't want to mess up the suit either.
Dude, I've been running like crazy
Yeah.
all day long. It's just...
It's the holidays.
That
What do
time of
you
year,
expect?
Yeah.
Well, tonight is Beer Boys Glass Night, so you can stop down for a random glass from all their giveaways throughout the year. They have a whole bunch of different ones. And they also have fresh hand-tossed personal pizzas for $3.50 from 6 to 12. They have a half-price happy hour Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays from 9 to 11, and Fridays and Saturdays from 8 till midnight, and live entertainment on weekends at 10 p.m., and there's never a cover. So Beer Boys always a good spot, especially when you have the family back in for the holidays, and you guys want to go out for a couple of beers. There you go.
Yeah, take some crowlers to your holiday gatherings.
Absolutely. They're always a hit. And we also want to plug the V-Spot, one of the most popular bars in northeastern Pennsylvania with live entertainment every night of the week. This week they have Christmas karaoke on Thursday, which, no offense to the V-Spot, that sounds like an utter nightmare for those of us who don't like Christmas music. Like we had 1224 on here, and I didn't have the heart to tell them, I'm like, I love what you guys do. I just don't like Christmas music. I can't stand it. As soon as it starts to the day that it ends, I can't deal with it. But if you're one of those people, and I know there are plenty of people who actually love Christmas music.
What do you mean one of those people?
You know who I'm talking about. So that's Thursday. Miz and his full band on Friday, which I believe is the first time that Miz has actually played at the V Spot. So that's pretty cool.
Most likely, yeah.
That's going to be a good show. Until Sunrise, formerly That 90s Band, is on Saturday. And the Jammin' for John Christmas benefits, you heard that right, Christmas, even though Kiss is not playing it, so it's kind of false advertising.
Thank God.
But all right.
Thank God.
Yeah, I feel they're overrated too, but that's just me. On Sunday, which is an all-day benefit for a local guy named John Stoffy, who is suffering from brain cancer. So his cousin organized a huge benefit that runs from noon to 8 p.m. With an amazing lineup of musicians at two different venues, the V-Spot and Thirsties. But at the V-Spot, they're having Brian Banks, Flatland Ruckus, Clarence Spady, Nowhere Slow, Ed Kuzo, Green August, The Bad Switch, Holtzman Effect, Destination West, Mature Musical Pictures, and Chris Huber. So plenty of music going on all day, so make sure you stop down for some great music and support a good cause. And then DJ Huff is hosting karaoke right after that, as he would every Sunday night. And you could still vote for NEPA Scene Rising Talent Open Mic. For the performers that performed last month, you can vote for them at nepascene.com/risingtalent. So only a few more weeks on that before we declare a winner. So make sure that you put in your vote. You can vote once a day right up until December 31st. All right, I got all that out. Any more plugs that we got to get in this weekend?
I did bring my bag of meat. I forgot the actual jerky this week.
Yeah.
I actually got more.
I'm just glad you're pulling it out of a bag and not your pants or something. That would be highly inappropriate.
Everyone has that person on their shopping list that sucks to buy for, and he's also made great stocking stuffers. You know, like these pieces of.
That is beautiful. Show the
yeah.
camera.
Show the camera.
Is that elk? Is that what that says?
There's some elk, yeah. There's elk, wild boar. But it comes nice in this box, and there's like little whatever that's.
If you're sick of buying them those like cheese things,
right?
You know, and like
right.
the crappy, like there's those meat things that are like that taste like crap. These are actually really good.
Yeah.
And they have a storefront in Wilkes-Barre that you can visit as well.
Yeah, it's good stuff. But if you order today, it's the last day to order online, wildmeats.com. Use the code word POPCO for free shipping, or POPCO and the number 10 for 10% off any order. So.
And you can use the POPCO 10 in the store too, right?
Yes, you can use the code POPCO10 in store. So if you're scrambling for a last minute gift idea or those last minute stocking stuffers, you can use that in store. And but if you're doing it online, you got to get it in before midnight tonight. So.
All right.
Does wild meats mean things other than just like cow and chicken
yes.
and stuff? Okay.
Yeah, so there's ostrich, there's elk,
wow,
there's
there you go.
Wild boar we mentioned. So
yeah.
Wildmeats.com. Check it out. It's cool. It's good stuff too.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get to the subject at hand tonight. We're talking about music as per usual. So how did you first get into music? Was it a young age for you?
I think it was with piano lessons, like it is for a lot of kids pretty young.
Mm-hmm.
And I, like a lot of kids at a young age, I didn't appreciate how much I would probably like it as an adult.
Yeah.
And so I think I went away from that and started playing guitar. I was about 14 or 15. But it became like a band and like a songwriting interest for me, more than like getting lessons and getting better at the instruments, which I regret now and I'm now catching up on.
Yeah.
But I'd say I started playing in bands towards the end of high school, like junior, senior year. And then it's just kind of been that. It's been writing and playing in bands since then. So, yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, when you're a kid, you see it as work.
Yeah.
And then, as you get older, you're like, oh, all my heroes, they actually had to practice.
Yep.
That's the hard part.
Yep.
Nobody wants to put in the time and energy. So when did you feel like you had to start taking it seriously?
I think I would guess it would be in high school when I started performing and getting the sense of how much fun that could be. And then I was around a lot of musicians. Like there were some guys that were in here a few months back. The Stecks, Michael and Steven Steck, who were friends of mine, and they were incredible. And so we were, I wanted to, get on their level, and so I think I kept writing to be able to keep performing and all that. So
Were you writing your own like original music at that point?
17, 18 years old, around then. So I remember I wrote my first song when I was 17. Yeah.
The stuff that you're like, oh God, I can't listen to that now.
The first song, so for the most part, yes.
Yeah.
Definitely. There was somebody that posted, they were just trying to be supportive, and they posted a link to like my old Reverb Nation page.
Yeah.
And I commented, I didn't ask them to take it down, but I commented and said, this is the link to the new page. That stuff hasn't been updated in quite a while.
Yeah.
And it's not a reflection necessarily even of how, where I am now.
Sure.
So.
But that's the part of the process, I think. And, anybody who knows anything about music has to understand and appreciate that.
Yeah.
Not everybody's going to. But,
Yeah. I would say, too, in terms of getting going, like both my parents are pretty musical. And were supportive of it once I kind of picked it back up on my own. And my grandmother was an incredible piano player, and so it was like a family thing too. Getting back into it.
Well, that's important too, because you either have kind of one extreme or the other. The parents were like, "Oh yeah, totally go for it," or like, "Why are you wasting your time on that? You need to be a doctor or a lawyer."
Yeah.
That's going to take time from your studies, that kind of thing.
Yep.
So did you do anything in college, music-wise?
I played a few like acoustic things on my own when I was in college, and I had it was just like a SoundCloud type project that I was doing with the drummer from my high school band. Mm-hmm. And so we would record when he was a year older than I was. So when he would come home, when I was still living here, we would record a couple songs. And that continued until about freshman year of college, sophomore year.
Okay.
And then I started playing with the band when I would say the end of sophomore year. And we played up until about 2 years ago. But people go in different directions.
Sure.
So that was tough to maintain. We were in different parts of the world, too.
Yeah.
So, different parts of the Northeast. But, yeah.
Was that the Senseless Sam?
That was Senseless Sam and the Orangutans. Yeah.
Fantastic band name, by the way.
Yeah.
I always compliment whenever I hear a good band name, because all the good band names have like almost been taken at this point. Like there's very few left.
Yeah.
But when I hear a good one, I'm like, okay, all right, I give you credit for that, because everybody wants like the same 10 names.
I have to give my dad credit on that name. He kind of said it. The first gig that we had was a fill-in, and I had two friends that we were kind of jamming with, and we still needed a drummer and a bass player. And I said it will just be for this one show. And they said, well, we need a name. And I forget what the reason was, but my dad said if I ever have a band in college, the name would be Senseless Sam and the Orangutans. and so we just went with that, and then ended up playing for a few more years. So
Nice.
Yeah.
So did you learn anything from that you end up using now at all?
Definitely. I would say I was writing, in the basic sense, melody and lyrics, the songs for that band. I don't think that would be unfair to say to the other guys. And those songs only really came together once I brought it to them. Mm-hmm. And I think I learned how fun the collaborative process can be, because I've been writing kind of on my own.
Right.
And I'm back to that now somewhat, but obviously for the record, I fleshed out the tunes with some guys. But appreciating, how good collaboration can be is definitely was the takeaway from that. And kind of being humbled by, you think like you're getting better on your own. You go out and you see, or you bring a song to your friend and he makes it 15 times better, or takes it in a direction that you didn't see. Like, it's a humbling experience to work with people. You surround yourself, you try to, with people who are better than you. So.
Well, and that's another thing where you're the kind of one or the other. You're either the musician who's very protective of everything and is like, nope, my ideas are brilliant and I will let no one touch them in any way, or the collaborative type that's going to say, all right, yeah, that is a good idea, or this song improves it, makes it better. So.
Yeah. And it was so carefree. It was like just a for fun thing. Mm-hmm. And so I never wanted to, I always resisted the urge to be that, presence that wanted to stop ideas from going in the direction that I didn't anticipate them going in.
From being an Axl Rose. So who are some of your influences then, outside of that, obviously?
Yeah, it would be a laundry list. just because growing up, I think the artists that I was listening to, like what my parents were listening to, and that was a lot of the Beatles, a lot of Neil Young, a lot of James Taylor, and I would say Tom Petty too. I would say those are definitely influences. Got into the Strokes and the Arctic Monkeys a lot in high school, kind of like, the height of alternative, just like mainstream alternative almost.
Right.
As I started to appreciate songwriting more so, I started to appreciate people like Neil Young more, and then I like Oasis a lot, and The Cure, Lord Huron, like current band like them, Death Cab for Cutie, like Ben Gibbard. I like a lot of those guys. So
Nice.
yeah, those would be influences.
So let's talk about the writing of this album. Right off the bat, like the name, Mystic immediately. It's such an intriguing name. Like you don't even know, all right, what is this going to be? Even just looking at the cover, you're like, all right, what is this going to sound like? You know? So why did you decide to call it that?
Precisely because of that appeal.
That reason
was that was a huge factor. But I was trying to come up with, I was just going to do my name for it, I think. It wasn't part of a band. It was kind of the first one. And I thought my name is already somewhat common. And so if I can get it being said more, then that would be great. But I put so much time into the individual songs that I thought I should, the girl, Krista Jaworski, who did the artwork, put so much time into that. And Bret put so much time in. I just thought for the title, that should be a responsibility of me to like come up with something.
Right.
And so then I did what everybody does, and I asked for help on thinking of the title. And I asked a cousin of mine, John Corrigan, and we had a writer in common that we liked a lot, Flannery O'Connor. And so we were both just looking through like this prayer journal of hers, and the line "Mystic" immediately is like the end of a sentence. And it was just like a combination of words. She's my favorite writer, so I consider her an influence. So it's part tribute, part going for an intrigue, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd say that's where it comes from.
Well, it worked, obviously.
Yeah, I hope so.
So what inspired these songs then? Are they all kind of different stories? Do they all kind of have an ongoing theme that runs throughout the album?
I think there's some ongoing themes. A lot of it has to do with, I've gone to Catholic school pretty much most of my life, and so I encountered a lot of like thinkers and like saints in those kind of areas. And I think they just kind of, the one thing that they encouraged was, as you're going through life, just to be constantly reflective, of experiences you have and people you meet. And so my way of living up to that was I could only think about it and understand things better if I was writing it. And so they're connected in that sense. But the songs together, I even flip-flopped on which ones I wanted to go on the record itself. So I didn't write those 8 and say, all right, these were the 8 that I was trying to get to make a record. I've been writing, you just kind of write, as I'm sure a lot of people would say is their practice. But I knew I wanted to record, and so then I was kind of just trying to narrow in on the 8 that I thought were, might sound good with a band behind it and on Spotify and stuff like that. So, yeah.
Yeah, paring it down is probably the hard part to,
Yeah.
choose between your children, so to speak.
Yeah, I had,
who makes it, who doesn't.
Exactly. I had to look back at the emails that I sent to Bret initially. And over the course of it, I sent him like 12 or 13 songs and kept saying, no, we're not going to do these ones. We're actually going to do these 3 instead or something like that.
Yeah.
And so there's 4 that he has that were just me playing them into my phone that we didn't even end up touching or thinking about even. So, yeah.
Is that something you're thinking about maybe next album?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I loved working with Bret and AJ and Nyke, so I'd love to do another one.
Well, let's talk a little bit about that. So how did you first meet Bret?
Tony's Wine Cellar in West Pittston, or Pittston, excuse me. The open mic they have on Wednesday nights. I met him and Eddie Apnell. They run it together. And I can remember the first time, they're both incredible songwriters, Eddie and Bret, and both of them have been really supportive. But I can remember the first time I heard Bret playing. It was with Aaron Fink was there playing one night, and I can remember him playing. I didn't know it at the time, but it was a Badlees song, "Drive Back Home," and I remember thinking this was the second or third time I had been there, and I was like, yeah, they're good. I didn't know which songs were written by them and stuff. But he finished playing that song. I was like, what in God's name was that song? That was amazing. And it was just two guitars, but he's got, a great voice. And so that's, I think, when we started actually having conversations about music. And over time, it was a lot about writers because I was always playing my own stuff there. Yeah. And they were good enough to let me do so. Because they'd have these younger girls coming in and blowing the roof off the place with their covers of just some of the greatest rock songs of all time. Yeah. And I'd go and play my acoustic original that I wrote. and they were patient, with me about that. But yeah, met Bret through the wine cellar. Yeah.
So you're saying these guys are pretty approachable.
Yeah.
Because
very.
There's a lot of, obviously there's a generational difference there. But there's also I think people see a name like Bret or Aaron Fink, guys who've accomplished a lot, big albums and toured around the country and stuff like that, and they kind of oh yeah, that's not I don't know if I could talk to him or whatever. But you felt comfortable enough to be able to go up and kind of strike up a conversation?
Mostly because I didn't appreciate how talented they were. Okay. And I didn't appreciate how storied their backgrounds were. Mm-hmm. When I started coming down to it, I was hearing from other people. I was getting kind of the background of every musician that would show up there.
Yeah.
And then you do some research on your own and stuff, and you learn, damn.
Right.
A couple national kind of touring artists and record deals between them. And, then I started to have a sense of, wow, this is an intimidating, group of people. In terms of their talent, though.
Right.
They're intimidating in that regard. You guys both know both of them, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And they're warm, welcoming, good guys to talk to. So.
Yeah, because when they were doing their thing, you were probably a little kid at that point.
Yeah, pretty young for sure. Yeah.
So when did it come down to, okay, I'm going to record at his studio? Because you guys went up to Saturation Acres.
Yep. That was a conversation that we were having a number of times. I knew I wanted to work with him because we started playing some of my originals together at the open mic. Mm-hmm. And there was one that's the last track on the record called Some Sense, and he would play that on the mandolin, and we had a lot of fun with that one. And so then we'd be talking more and more, and I just kind of thought, the wealth of experience and just how much I enjoy playing with him, I think I'd be an idiot not to take advantage of the opportunity.
Sure.
And I think in December is when I first sent him a round of songs my own. I had an idea, though, that I was going to record 4 songs with him and 4 songs with friends of mine in New York. And I was either going to put them on the same thing or have 2 separate EP releases. And 2 of the guys I was going to record with in New York were in my college band. And I have to shout out their band, Future Generations, because they have, they're gaining some serious traction.
Nice.
Brooklyn-based indie pop rock band. And they were gaining that traction last February, too, in January. And I was like, I feel like they would know kind of the way to go about it for the current times.
Sure.
And then I think it was just, I had the experience of getting together with Bret and AJ and getting to get into the songs and flesh them out that way. And I was like, I'm not going to be able to have that time to do that in New York. Right. And I would love to work with them, but I think my money is probably better spent where I have the opportunity to really feel them out and,
take your time with them and stuff like that.
Can't rush these things.
So is this your first solo album?
Yeah, I've released some music in the past, but it was always just dropping a song online.
Sure.
And we did an EP in college with that band. Mm-hmm. Had an EP with the high school band too. But solo, I think this would be the first album. Yeah.
Well, I think it's so important, and and a lot of the younger kids may not understand this when they're putting stuff out, but you really have to make a good impression right off the bat and do something that sounds really good. I've heard a lot of bands who are like, oh, here's my new EP or here's my debut, whatever, record it in my basement. And it's like, yeah, that's great. And these songs are really good. I've heard them live. They sound great live. they don't sound good in a tape recorder on a table in your basement. And it's a really bad impression that you give right off the bat, especially if you're trying to get gigs and stuff like that. I think people put out something that they think sounds all right on their iPhone. It's like, well, that's all well and good, but you really should take the time in a studio and actually, spend a couple of bucks or whatever, make it sound good. So Bret was kind of able to kind of help you mold these songs into kind of what they are now.
Yeah, and to your point, to what you just said too, that's the first thing that people have said about the songs. Is it just like the quality? It just sounds professional,
right?
And all that. But yeah, we went down into a studio in February. I guess there were 2 pre-production sessions. And like the first single off the album is called Gray, which you played a couple times for me on the show. Mm-hmm. And that was the first one I showed them. And that kind of, it changes tempo. It's like a half tempo, and I don't know too much about the theory of it, but it's like a half tempo in the verses, and then it picks up in the choruses. And that was not something I had. I had it the same tempo the whole song, but AJ started playing, and he started coming in at the half tempo, and then picked it up. And after that one, I was like, damn, this is an involved process, and I liked the collaborative aspect of it all. And the chorus doubles at the end. That was something they encouraged. That was not the way I'd written it originally. So, yeah, it was that first session, and then came back and did one more. And it was after the first session that I reversed like a lot of the songs I had sent him. I said I actually don't want to do those. I sent him some other ones, like the ones I was going to do with the guys in New York, and so then we did one more.
So you're driving him crazy, is what you're saying?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, he's like, it'd be tough to tell if he was being driven crazy because he's very calm.
He is very calm and mild mannered. Yeah.
But they liked the songs when they heard them, and I think that kind of feedback is what gets you really amped up about it yourself.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was fun.
Well, you've played a bunch of the songs on your show.
Gray, August.
Yeah, August.
I think they may have been. I think I have like 3 or 4, but that's only 2 that I played so far.
Yeah.
Because he gave me the album a couple of weeks ago, and I've been listening to it. I don't know what your impression of it is, but I think it has such a full sound for being a solo album.
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot of solo albums are really like stripped down, and it just sounds like a guy in a room. And this, it just immediately, even before the other instruments come in, it just sounds very full to me. It has like an atmosphere to it, I guess is the best way I could say it.
Yeah. And I was going to ask you how AJ and Bret played into the whole experience, but you kind of already answered that.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you know this or not, but I've actually been waiting for this album for probably longer than you even thought about writing it. It was Record Store Day 2016, I want to say.
Yeah, it's Gallery Sound.
Gallery Sound, yeah. I think Death Valley Dreams was supposed to play. Something that came up and you filled in last second.
Yeah, which was a weird flip-flop.
Right.
So yeah, so I'm hanging out. I'm talking to AJ. I think Aaron Fink was there, whatever. And I wasn't even looking at you. You started playing, and I was like, "Who the fuck is that?" Because it was just good. I said to AJ, does he have anything released that he could I can buy from him? He's like, not yet, but just wait. And I'm like, all right. So
yeah.
Here we are 2 years later.
There you go.
It was worth the wait for sure.
Just about 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
That's my first time, my first experience with your music and your you playing.
Yeah. Well, I met AJ a few months before that at the Wine Cellar, which I guess is where I just seem to meet every person I know.
Yeah.
But he was playing. They were playing a holiday show in the Kirby Center lobby a couple days later, and so he was there with Underground Saints, and they were going to play a couple songs. And again, another group that I didn't appreciate, how goddamn good those guys were. But AJ stopped me after I played. I just played one of my own songs, and then I did a cover with the band, the jam band that they bring up. And he gave me his card, and he just said, "You should get in the studio with Bret, man. That was a cool song." And then when it came time, then it was a year until I actually ended up doing that.
Right.
But I thought, all right, you got to involve AJ. Because he got me a couple gigs between that time and when I met him, he got me the Gallery Sound to open at his place, and he's been the man. So.
That's the hardest part about being a musician. Like I feel like there's so many. Whenever you talk to a band, it's like, oh yeah, we're playing this new album, but we're already sick of it because we've already written 2 or 3 albums that are just sitting there waiting to be recorded that we haven't been able to record yet. So that's got to be, that's got to be a little tough.
Yeah.
Now you worked with Nyke Van Wyk too.
Yep.
He played violin on that.
Yeah.
So it was. Is he down in like Bethlehem area?
Bethlehem.
Or? Okay.
And he is moving around a lot. He plays all over the place.
Is he like one of Bret's guys?
Yeah.
Okay.
He was in the Badlees, as I understand it, would have joined maybe about 10 years ago, maybe a little earlier than that.
I first met him when he was on the Panacea.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Okay.
There's a song called Additives, I think it was.
Yeah, which Bret did a lot of those songs, I think. In his
That
studio.
song still gives me chills to this day.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I first heard that, 2006, I was like, holy shit. Mm-hmm. Just chills. Yeah. So
He's
cool.
that kind of player,
Yeah, that piece, that added piece to it, I was just like, wow. Yeah, that's cool.
Well, you forget that like Saturation Acres, you think of like of Bret stuff and Ed Randazzo and those guys, but he put out a lot of metal stuff from there too. He did Grace's Downfall, which kind of has some hard rock metal elements to it, and them as well. So there's a lot of stuff other than that coming out of there that's very different.
This is really good.
Now, which one's this one?
It's the blueberry, the new.
Okay,
I forget what I said. Newport blueberry, something or other.
I put that there for when
Yeah,
we're here.
absolutely. I'm gonna finish reading them.
Yeah, this is good. It's not like the SBC blueberry is like really blueberry. It's very berry. This is like more subtle.
Yeah, I like
For
that.
sure, but it's good. So, can you talk a little bit about? We've been talking about Tony's Wine Cellar in Pittston a little bit. What is the atmosphere like for that? Which I believe is going on right now. Usually it's a Wednesday night.
Yeah,
so
it'll
it is.
start like around 8:30 or so.
8:30, okay.
Yeah.
Because it's one of those things that I hear about from musicians all the time, and I haven't gotten down there myself, and I'm been meaning to at one point. I have a friend of mine who's bugging me to do the poetry thing tomorrow, so I might go to that.
What we should do, because I literally drive by there every Wednesday night coming
really?
home from here. And I'm like, I should stop in.
Yeah.
But I'm like, no, I gotta get home. But we should make a plan to after we're done here, we'll head over.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should do that one of these times.
Yeah.
Just to kind of check it out and see what it's like. So it's very collaborative. People can just kind of come in and out, or just do their own thing, or how does it work?
Yeah, so anybody's welcome to play, and there, it's the kind of crowd that you're hoping for. Everybody's rooting for you, even if they don't know you.
So people actually are there to listen to music, which
Yeah, they are.
that's
They
hard
are.
with a lot of open mics.
And it's tough because they'll have huge nights then where like it's everybody, it's a getting back together type thing. So then it becomes loud in there, and the music is still the focus, but somewhat secondary. Mm-hmm. But very open to all kinds of music. I've heard every genre of music played down there. I've heard heavier stuff. I've heard country. I've heard pop. Acoustic was me. Like kind of slipped in there. And then so I would say for the most part, when people get there, they want to bring up whatever musicians are in the house to play, which oftentimes is Eddie Apnell and Bret and Rob and Tim Husty. Who can follow with anything.
Yeah.
They have a bass player, Gary Antall, who's there every week, and he's the man. He can follow on everything too. But sometimes that group is bigger and sometimes it's smaller. And it was down, Nyke I met Nyke at the Wine Cellar as well.
Oh, really?
So obviously he's a connection through Bret, but the first night that I played with Nyke, where he'll just stay up there the entire night because everybody wants to play with him.
Right.
I didn't know what his connection was to Bret. And so we played the first time, and that would be over 2 years ago now. And he can follow everything. It's just no matter what musician is up there coming to jam with you, they're serious musicians. They can hang. So it's somewhat a loud atmosphere, but in a good way.
Yeah.
Because everybody's there to appreciate the sound, kind of. So, yeah.
So we've been talking a lot about collaborations tonight.
Yeah.
But if you could work with anybody, doesn't matter, local, national, whatever, who would that be?
Oh man, that's a really good question. I think the tough thing about that is that I find myself listening to and enjoying so many different genres. So I have like a person in probably different genres that I'd want to work with. I would say that one of the greatest experiences was the experience I had working with Nyke and Bret and AJ. So I've had the experience of working with world class, in my estimation, whatever that's worth. But like a pop indie band like the 1975, they have some really poppy songs. But they've got
pretty good. Yeah.
They're awesome to me.
Right.
I love listening to them. I mentioned for like something that would be a little more Britpop, like Noel Gallagher or somebody like that, from Oasis would be great. Yeah, we'll go with those two. I mean, because they would be kind of the singers wise. Like my favorite singers are older singers, like Marvin Gaye and Sam Cooke. It'd be cool to like sing a song with them or something like that. But I probably wouldn't be able to keep up with those guys. But yeah, that'd be it, I think.
We talked a lot about when we had James Barrett here last week on the show, another singer-songwriter.
Mm-hmm.
Being a working musician, playing, holding a job and playing out and that sort of thing. What has your experience been with that?
Music has just been an outlet for me in a lot of ways. And I think as I got older and I recognized what a joy it was, I wanted to make sure that it wasn't going to be a chore. And so you do have to work at it. But again, the writing thing has been like just a personal necessity. Like you write to process life kind of. And I think but then there's the aspect, now I have a record out and I want a lot of people to listen to it.
Yep.
And I want to be able to play a lot with it, but life is going to get in the way of me being able to promote that and being able to play when I want to. So you're just, squeaking the wheel. You do what you can when you can, and you take advantage of the opportunities that come your way. If you're serious about what you're putting into your music, then when things come along like shows, they might not be convenient, but it's in your best interest. You're going to have fun doing it. It's in your best interest to go out of your way to kind of do what you can to make it a focus, even though it can't be your only focus.
Sure.
So, and stuff. And I'm in school right now.
Yeah.
I'm in law school, actually. So I've had very limited time this past semester.
I imagine.
But again, it's you find time for it if it really means, something to you.
Mm-hmm.
So.
So you have the album release show coming up at Karl Hall. That's Saturday, December 29th.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you have planned for that show?
Bret is going to be an acoustic opener, actually, which will be great.
That's a weird reversal, right?
yeah, for sure. I mean, that's the thing is that's a humbling thing to be able to like be the headliner of a show that he's opening for. But he's going to be playing with my group too.
Cool.
He'll be on guitar and I'm sure mandolin or maybe piano at some point.
Mm-hmm.
I think we were trying to figure out how we could rotate to get some instruments in there.
Yeah.
But it'll be Bret and AJ and myself and Mark Keisinger on bass.
Nice.
It should be fun. It's a seated show, so tickets are on sale right now, and I'm encouraging people to get them early if they can, just because my parents have and I love them for it, but they've invited everybody from family members to the person that makes them their sandwich at lunch on a weekday.
Yeah.
So trying to have space for everybody that would want to go.
Sure.
Yeah, it should be good. I know we were trying to get some other musicians maybe to be able to sit in, but the 4-piece is going to work because at its core, it's really it's a 4-piece kind of sound.
Right.
So, yeah, it should be good. I'm looking forward to it. I like playing at Karl Hall. The sound there is great, atmosphere is great. So, it should be fun.
When I played your song this past weekend, I believe it was, I hope I read correctly because I mentioned this, that you're going to have actual copies in vinyl as well.
Yeah.
I told people that they should message you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's what I was encouraging people. The vinyls take like 3 months to make.
Yeah.
So they'll actually be here on Thursday of next week, which is just 2 days before the show. I already have the CDs, and then it's online everywhere. So, which is how a lot of people will probably go and get it. But again, the artwork was killer, I thought, and so as we were coming along, the vinyl was not the intention initially, but I think this is going to look good, on a vinyl. So just went with that.
I think it's an album that would benefit from the vinyl too, because
the sound.
That sound, it's a little more full. So you need something like that to to fill a vinyl. You wouldn't normally get that with, I think, a singer-songwriter, but I think it works with what you're doing.
Definitely. Yeah, and on the singer-songwriter point, I meant to say this before, that the recording process too was also like, for parts, like a lot of the melodies that you hear in different parts were things that like I had written, because sometimes they'll start out as songs on the piano, and so you're getting a melody there, and then you use like a loop pedal, like that's like a great thing for someone, and so you just get that going and you try and figure out like what a hook would be, but there were obviously parts of the songs where we didn't have that, and so that was fun to just be sitting there with Bret kind of and fiddling around on the piano or the electric guitar, and then obviously there were parts in the songs that didn't have hooks that Nyke kind of built these massive sections around, which makes it impossible to repeat unless we have 19 violin players.
Right.
But in a great way, they're still fun songs to play live. But yeah, that's like I didn't think about it in that way. The singer-songwriter is usually a stripped down kind of vibe, but this definitely a lot of lush kind of instruments and And like you said, Karl Hall, I think, is a good venue for it, too, because it's something you really want to have everybody quiet and not, trying to talk over people while they're, ordering a beer and all that kind of stuff. It's more of a sit-down, intimate atmosphere for this type of show. Yeah. That and what you said, too, I like when it's a quiet crowd. Yes. And when you get to low parts in the songs, you can kind of hear a pin drop.
Right.
And I think that was the holiday show that I mentioned before. That would be 2 years ago. That had Underground Saints and Bret and the 5%. Mm-hmm. I think it was Tony Halchak as well.
Oh yeah, that was cool. It was at the Kirby Center.
Yeah, it was in the lobby, which was amazing. But I remember Bret played by himself, and he was playing a song that I bug him to play all the time. Don't Let Me Hide, a Badlees song. And he was getting like midway through that, and like a lot of people had like shut up. And he got to this kind of build-up point where then the guitar drops out and he just starts singing and then starts playing with it, and people were, just kind of jaws on the floor and stuff like that.
Right.
So that's like reaching towards that is what you're always going for, to have people really, kind of attentive and listening and stuff. So,
yeah, you can't have those moments in that bar type of atmosphere.
Yeah, no, definitely not. Definitely not.
So once the album's already out, so you can get it digitally.
Yep.
And you'll have the physical copies and everything. Once all that's over with and everything, what's the next step for you? What are your plans going forward?
To continue to promote it, I think. I'm proud of it. It's kind of a weird thing. You have to drop whatever humble tendencies you have, and you have to kind of get your game face on about this being as good as anything else, because you want people to get excited about it and want them to buy it. And that's a tough hump to get over, kind of, because again, when you're around music, you see how much good stuff is out there, and you realize, like, all right, so my stuff can kind of hang, but like there's still really good stuff out there. And so I think it's going to be a lot of that, a lot of just trying to get people to listen to it. It's the neatest thing about having this connected like kind of globe that we have is being able to get it to different parts of the world, and that would be the goal, to have somebody on the other side of the world listening to it, I think, and enjoying it, hopefully. But yeah, so.
Well, that's the one benefit of the internet is getting that, being able to reach those audiences that you wouldn't normally be able to reach and get them out there. We get people on the podcast all the time who like have listeners in other countries, and then they tune in and stuff, and that's so weird to me. It's crazy. Like, our little humble thing in Northeast PA, and people are like tuning in from all over to hear a particular artist that they like, talk about stuff, and people that they've never met. they don't have a personal connection to, but they have that connection that they've made through music, which is incredibly interesting and powerful.
Yeah, I agree.
So what are your ultimate goals then? You're going to law school, so you obviously have other ideas of stuff in mind, and so is your plan to kind of keep doing this too? Run them parallel, or how's that work?
It's tough. It was kind of a weird thing. I just started school, and so I met a ton of new people, and you become friends with people on Facebook and Instagram, and like these whole 3 months, the first semester I've been promoting an album, and like I don't know, I think in that setting it's not unfair to say that it's rare to find someone doing that, and that's not to lift me up. I'm just saying that a lot of people, like I anticipated, they were probably like, what the hell is he posting about, like at 8 a.m. on a Friday, like he has a new song, what does that even mean?
Right.
And there were people like taking an interest, which was nice, but balancing it with law school and with whatever I end up doing with the law will always be tough. But I think, like I said, it's always been kind of an outlet, and it's something I can't not do. It just feels like too much of my life at this point. So writing and recording will always be, and performing will always be something I'm going to make time for.
You just have to.
Yeah, and so we'll see what happens. I'm not ruling out hearing conversations from somebody who's got an interest in it at a record label level, but obviously that's just something that every musician has in the back of their mind.
Sure.
I'm not gunning towards that, but I'll accept it. So, yeah.
So we want to take any viewer questions or comments or anything like that. So it's your last chance if you want to comment, and like I promised earlier on our Facebook page, we're going to give away some comedy tickets as well. So if you want to see a comedy show this Friday at the Keys, I'll tell you a little bit about that. Leave a comment down below. We'd love to give those away. I know it's kind of a last minute thing for some people. They might have already plans or something like that. But with holiday stress and everything else, everybody needs a good laugh. So we'd love to help out some of our fellow comedians and promote that a little bit. So we'll give those tickets away in a couple minutes too. Vinny said, John, can I see your smartwatch says you only made one sales call today?
Who's that?
Vinny.
Vinny, let me tell you something. My kid's fucking starving, and it's your fucking fault.
You hear that, Vinny? Let's see. Rob McGarry says Joe.
Rob McGarry.
McGarry. There you go. Let's see. Apparently, people love just spelling your name in lots of different ways. ECH, Joe EC.
Oh, that's
J-O-E-C-H.
my niece and nephews.
Okay.
That's
Is that how they say it?
I think it's like my parents and my sister maybe would say Joe, and so they abbreviated it to Joach or Joach. So that's the uncle moniker that I have.
Terrence Donnelly, same thing. So.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that's the gang right there. Robert and Terrence commented that.
Joe Cosgrove, we're so honored that Joe Burke played at Sharon's and mine wedding in New York City.
Yeah.
So you played a wedding.
Yeah.
That's a high pressure gig. I think.
So it was the ceremony actually that my dad and I actually played together with a singer friend of Joe Cosgrove and his wife, who were great friends, very supportive. But yeah, that was an interesting one. It was an intimate wedding, which was nice at the Catholic Worker in New York. So a different kind of gig, but it was a nice one.
For sure.
Nice one. Yeah. But the wedding vibe is high pressure, definitely. You only do it once, so if you mess it up,
yeah, right.
Fingers crossed.
yeah. This ceremony,
They had certain music picked out or whatever all ready to go.
They did, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so we learned that.
Alex McGee says fire albums. So
yeah, he's a law school friend.
Cool.
Very supportive.
Sharon Cosgrove, Joe Burke at Karl Hall. Yes, September 29th or
December
December 29th. You should go to that. See, I'm hopeful. I want to believe that there's still more to this year. I can't believe that the year's over next week. It's crazy. Patience Brown also says fire. So lots
Another law school friend. Yep.
lots of fans of the album. That's good.
Awesome.
Also, if you're looking for something to do this weekend, Karl Hall, I promised AJ, because we invited AJ to jump on the show. He couldn't make it. He had some kind of dinner thing or something going on. So, too good for the podcast. He's one and done apparently.
I had dinner once.
We're still here, but there's a cool holiday jam show. Bret's going to be there. A ton of local musicians playing there. Like, the lineup's unbelievable. If you know anything about local music, it's pretty much like everybody and their mother is playing this thing.
Yeah,
it's crazy. So that's Sunday, December 23rd. So make sure you go to that as well this weekend if you don't have anything else going on. But this Friday, there's a really cool comedy show at the Keys. Some friends that have been on this podcast before, people who have also been at our live events, our open mics, our sponsored shows, all that kind of stuff. Angelia Petrillo, Dan Hoppel, Zach Hammond, and Elliot is hosting. So that's a fun show. If you want to go to the Keys this Friday, starts at 9 o'clock, I believe. Make sure that you stop down for that. It's Friday, December 21st. If you want free tickets to that, we will cover that for you. So all you have to do is just comment below and let us know that you want to go, and we will give you those tickets.
And Rich, I got a text during this that says Rich Alves was a classmate of mine at St. Pat's. It's from Christian Davis, who's my brother-in-law.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So there you go, Christian. I passed that along.
So you've a fellow St. Pat's graduate who suffered along with me.
Yeah, absolutely.
I can't say that I have too many fond memories, but he was a nice guy.
Okay.
I remember him being a nice guy.
Yeah, he's the man, for sure. And it's his kids that have given me the name that I was describing before.
Yeah.
The combo name. So, yeah.
I think it's All Saints Academy now. It's not even St. Pat's anymore.
That sounds right.
So you have to be
right.
a certain age to even know that existed at one point.
Yeah. Yeah, his son, I hope I'm not dragging on here, his son, it was 3. It was my godson. Burke is his first name, actually.
Okay.
We were at Thanksgiving a couple weeks ago. I'm trying to save this joke for the show as well on the 29th. But we were at the show at Thanksgiving a couple weeks ago, and I have a big family on my dad's side, and we were all sitting around in the living room. We were watching a football game, and my sister's kids like the songs a lot, and they play them. They get to them on her phone, and they play them. And it was right after I had released the 4th single, which was called Before and After Dawn, and it had purple lettering. For the artwork for the singles, it was always the title with a different color.
Yeah, I saw that. That was cool. I like that.
Yeah,
That was a cool design choice.
So the one before that was called Present Tense, which is the one they play a lot, which was green. And I think he was like eating something, and he looked over, and the room was like silent. He said, "Josh, I heard your new song." And he's 3, so it's funny like hearing something that matter of fact. And he said,
Right.
"The purple one." I said, "Oh, you heard the purple one?" And he said, "Sometimes I listen to the green one." It was just from a 3-year-old,
What are you, Weezer now?
What's that?
What are you, Weezer now?
Yeah, right.
I actually think I played all 4 of your tracks.
Yeah. I think I've sent them.
You did.
Yeah.
I forgot about the other 2.
He said this as pinky out, sipping tea.
Yeah, exactly.
I prefer the green one, but the purple one's pretty good too.
Yeah, exactly.
Keith Lee asks, what was Joe's inspiration for his songs?
Joe's inspiration. Keith is an awesome singer himself. He's a law school friend. But inspiration, I think different songs have different inspirations. Like the one that I played before, Ocean, to start the show. I think the title for that, and I would say to preface it that if somebody else finds meaning in the songs that I don't necessarily find, I think that's perfectly valid. I like that kind of not stopping someone from exploring it. Not that there's so many people exploring them. But the song Ocean is like kind of my reflective time every year. Is going to the beach with my family. So it's not like the birthday or the New Year. It's kind of sitting, on the beach the last day and just taking, a couple hours to just kind of think about where things are at personally or, in the world, relationships and things like that. So a lot of that surrounds kind of just an internal reflection that I'd had then, and a lot of the songs are just internal reflections. And a lot of them come from direct experiences and sometimes just things I witness. So yeah, it's a lot of just going through something and thinking about it and trying to understand it. And even if you don't understand it, still the writing process, that's a fine place to be, uncertainty. So individual songs have different individual inspirations. Great question, but it'd be a long answer.
Yeah, if you want to go through every one.
Go through other, yeah, but Ocean is a lot about like that. It's, the line that has that is, across the ocean, calling for someone's only, but he's misunderstood. And I think that's like a spirituality thing that's, I think people's impressions of God can be misunderstood in a lot of ways, using that as a justification for certain things. And for me, that's what it was. I, just thinking about that. Yeah, so. But someone's only, that could be, a loved one or something like that,
Sure.
Yeah, so.
You want to leave it just vague enough that maybe people can get, their own idea, their own interpretation of what it means.
Yeah, and I heard somebody say that once. They said they didn't like talking about the meanings in their songs because they didn't want people to stop exploring them.
Right.
And I liked that notion. He was a guy that was selling millions and millions of records, so it was more interesting for him to say that.
Right.
But and there were so many people asking, and so I just thought that was cool that was how he kind of put up a wall, in a certain sense. So I err on the side of that a lot, but I always want to, if somebody has a genuine interest, like I appreciate Keith. Thanks for the question, man. I was willing to talk about it for sure.
Yeah, it's a fine line because you don't want to if somebody has an idea of what a song means to them, you don't want to shatter that either.
Yeah,
you want to
yeah.
be like, oh, well, you're wrong. It's about this. You
Yeah.
know? But at the same time, I feel like it can mean something to you and something completely different to somebody else, and both are just as valid. I would think. I think that's art in general. Really.
I agree.
Anything else you wanted to touch on?
I don't think so.
Wild meats.
Wild Meats.
Wildmeats.com.
That's the kind of meat. I forget whose podcast I was listening to. I think it was Joe Rogan's, but he talks about how. There you go. I know you'd appreciate that.
He's a huge fan.
But he talks about in one of them how he orders that kind of stuff a lot because if you think about what that animal is doing in the wild versus what a cow does, kind of grazing.
Yeah.
Their lives are kind of they're hustling to get through, and so what you're eating is from an animal that is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I knew I liked Joe. Joe Burke.
You just like Joes in general.
Yeah, I guess so.
Well,
we didn't get to this last beer, but
did not.
It is the Cider Boys First Press Apple.
which we had last week, which was very good.
It was very good, yes. So, thank you as always to Beer Boys.
Yes. Thank you to Beer Boys. Thank you to V-Spot. Thank you to Wild Meats. All our sponsors that keep us going. And thank you to Cole Creative, especially, who let us use their studio every week and take time out of their day to make this show possible. I think I wanted to kind of end, since this will be our last one before the new year, to kind of, we'll send people off with maybe a positive message.
Hey, Rich. I'll see you next year.
Knew that was coming.
Sorry, go ahead.
Well, one of the things I touched on last week that absolutely not one person listened to whatsoever was, when we were talking about opening the show, everybody was fighting in the comments section and stuff like that. As you get on a lot of articles, not so much our stuff a lot of times, but all the news stuff around here, which is completely meant to divide us and stuff like that. There's so much of the clickbait intention to get you angry so that you fight with people and stuff like that. So we had posted Penn's Peak is getting Roseanne Barr, who obviously is very controversial this year because of comments she made and things like that. She got fired from her show and all this other kind of stuff. So to this day, I still get, because I get notifications on my phone when people comment. So I try to keep, track of what people are saying and stuff like that. A lot of these news stations just kind of let anything be posted there. I'm very, if I see something that's really bad, I'll delete it. But most of the time, I just kind of let people do their thing. But my phone keeps going off all the time. To this, we posted on Friday. It's now Wednesday, and we're still getting comments in that thread of people fighting over whether or not they support. At this point, who cares? Can we just let it go for a couple of days? The holidays are coming up. Everybody get along. The thing that bothers me about that kind of stuff is, as an organization, as what we do with NEPA Scene, is we really try to put out so much positive stuff. We share so much new music. Just in the last few weeks, we're premiering a bunch of new songs from local artists. We've had local artists on our podcast, things like that. We don't get nearly as many comments, nearly as many shares on those things as we do anytime we post anything negative. And we rarely post negative stuff or stuff that could be even drummed up as negative, like this story in particular. It doesn't matter how you feel about her. But either way, whether people liked her or hate her, they're sharing it, they're talking about it, they're fighting with each other. It's such bullshit. I'm so tired of it. I just stay out of it anymore. I'm a very political person. I have very personal convictions about certain things. I don't bother fighting with people on Facebook. It's not worth it. It's never worth it. You're never going to change anybody's mind doing that. You're much better if you feel strongly about something, go out and volunteer for something, raise money for something, do something positive that's actually going to affect the world. Fighting with people is not going to do that, especially in internet comments. Never going to work. So I guess my message to people is, if you like what we do here, if you like this show, if you like this guy's music, share that. Talk about that. Put out something positive into the world. Tell people, hey, go buy this album. Something like that. It doesn't have to be NEPA Scene related. Just anything that people are doing in the area that's good. Share that instead. Talk about that instead. Spend more time doing that. You're not going to get as many likes and shares if you're that kind of person who you just want a bunch of likes on your page. Don't share positive stuff, because it's not going to get any, unless it's like the holidays and it's like Christmas. Take a picture of your tree. That kind of thing. Everybody gets likes for that. But if you're one of those people who's obsessed with that kind of stuff, sharing positive stuff isn't going to get you anywhere. But we're kind of, as an organization, we're determined to continue to share that stuff anyway. We know that we could absolutely get more clicks if we just posted clickbait all day, or if we just posted nasty negative stuff all day long, like a lot of the other news organizations do. We don't do that because we believe that there's a lot of good stuff going on, and we really want people to focus on that stuff. So I guess my message here is just, share that stuff for the holiday. Make social media a little bit brighter, and in real life, or maybe just turn it off completely and spend some time with the family on the holidays.
I wish.
In our business, I think it's much harder to do because we have to kind of constantly be on whatever the next thing is, and stay in touch with people, and constantly post like we do. But if you're not in that business, good for you. Do something positive. That's all I have to say about that. But yeah, that's my rant for today. Anything else that you want to throw in there?
Share Alt Natives on Alt921 on Facebook, Instagram,
Another positive
Twitter.
thing.
Very positive. It's near and dear to my heart as a supporter of the local music scene for 15 years or so. I get to play artists like Joe here and James Barrett from last week, and Send Request and all those guys, and I don't get paid to do it. It's something that I just love to do, and I'm very honored to be able to have that hour of the week on the radio and share the talent that is here locally in NEPA. So if you listen, thank you. If you don't know about it, Alt Natives on Alt921. There's a Facebook page for it, Instagram, Twitter, but the show is called Alt Natives, and it's on the radio station Alt921. So again, yeah, if you listen, thank you, and if not, check it out. I would appreciate it.
All right, so if we want to close out the show with one more song.
Let's do it.
Sweet.
All right,
Sounds good.
Let's crush beers.
make sure that you pick up his album Mystic immediately. It's out digitally right now, so you can go look it up and grab it that way. Or more importantly, come to the release show. Actually, go out in person and support local music. That's so important. That's December 29th. So make sure you go out to Karl Hall and check that out. And thank you all for tuning in tonight.
And all year.
All year, yeah. We went through a lot of episodes. We're at 88 now, I think, is 80, 88, 89, somewhere around there. So we're closing in on that 100 episode mark. So I'm excited to have that. I think
Probably
we're
work on a banger for that.
we I have an idea.
Okay,
I'm gonna
cool.
run it by you afterwards,
All right.
but I have an idea what we might do for that.
It's too bad I already got here.
Oh, you ruined it. Thanks.
The 100.
12 episodes too soon.
So thank you, man. Thank you.
Oh, my pleasure. Thanks for
coming on the
having me.
show.
Yeah, it means a
Absolutely.
lot. And thanks for the airtime on
Absolutely,
the show.
man.
Really
Like I
appreciate
said,
it, brother.
it's honestly my pleasure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Let's get out of your way.
All right,
right.
cool.
One more song.
Tested words in a little prayer, bent my nerves to a champagne stare. As I paced down a dark hall, in my mind I'm losing track of how to keep calm. I'm tied to correspondence, restless heart, my only constant. A long pause amid the chaos, the kind of smile that could save us. Could it play out in the best way, or did I ask on the wrong day? Brief and quick to the point now, I'm hoping she'll help me somehow find some peace in the season. Changing leaves and dust leave lengths, patiently by my desk with a pencil, paper, and wandering thoughts. Will I be waiting for such a long time to see that she'd never be mine? Or will I find that there's something more to a first glance? Through a window at sundown, you wave me just onto the ground, then smile softly, sure and low. Shuddered with a sense of rhythm, counted ways that I could overcome a slow retreat from an honest bet. She hasn't even answered yet. Keep my sense towards a true north. A solid risk could be a reward. The fear but introspection convinced me to put my sentence in, like the treetops in contact. Serious if you're about that. Now I wish I could rewind this exact moment in time.